We usually talk about work-life balance like it's just this simple math equation, right? Like how we divide up the 24 hours in our day. But the actual science of workplace well-being tells a completely different story. The problem isn't just the sheer number of hours we're clocking in. To truly thrive, we've got to stop looking at balance as a rigid schedule and start treating it as a deliberate system of recovery. So let's dive into this explainer and fundamentally rethink how we recharge.
First things first, we need to completely debunk a massive myth right off the bat. Working fewer hours is not the ultimate answer. As the researcher Sabine Sonntag points out, recovery isn't the opposite of productivity. Actually, scratch that, it's way deeper. It's the condition that makes productivity possible in the first place. People who fail to recover don't actually work less. They just work worse, for longer hours, and honestly at a huge cost to themselves.
And the effort recovery model shows us exactly why that happens. It lays out this pretty grim progression of what goes down when our work demands just never truly stop. Look, every single task you do produces what's called a functional load. And if you don't actively dissipate that load through proper recovery, well, it piles up. It's like a snowball effect. That unchecked accumulation leads straight to chronic tiredness, plunging performance, and eventually, total burnout. True recovery literally only kicks in when the demands of work completely stop activating your nervous system.
So, the big question is, how do we actually stop that vicious cycle? Well, Sonntag and Fritz hit the nail on the head when they identified 4 distinct recovery experiences that act as the perfect antidote. These are completely independent of each other, but together they predict reduced fatigue and far better future performance. We're talking about psychological detachment, relaxation, mastery, and control. Let's look at the absolute most critical one first. That crucial first step, psychological detachment. It sounds so simple on paper, right? Just stop thinking about work. But let's be real. In our hyper-connected world, it is the absolute hardest dimension to achieve. Unless you deliberately design strong boundaries against those constantly pinging notifications, the temptation of being constantly available, and those unspoken office expectations, true mental detachment is basically impossible. You have to actively build walls around your time.
Moving on to relaxation, and I'm not just talking about a chill mood here. Authentic recovery is a hard biological reset. When you truly relax, your body's parasympathetic system completely takes over. This is your built-in rest and regeneration mode. It triggers this incredible, literal physiological cascade where your chronic stress hormone, cortisol, drops, and your body actually stops producing the inflammatory chemicals that we associate with burnout.
Which brings us to a huge trap that, let's be honest, almost all of us fall into every single evening. There is a massive difference between behaviors that merely look like recovery and the active choices that genuinely restore us. Mindlessly scrolling social media on the sofa? Yeah, that's fake recovery. It keeps your brain constantly stimulated. Genuine recovery demands screen-free, relaxing activities like getting completely lost in a good book, listening to music, or just stepping out into nature.
This leads us to a really fascinating concept from Harvard researcher Ashley Willens called time affluence, or simply the wealth of time. Surprisingly, the biggest cause of feeling time poor isn't having too many commitments on your calendar, it's actually lacking presence. Think about it. Just 20 minutes of full, undivided attention with a loved one restores you vastly more than 2 whole hours of distracted, phone-in-hand co-presence. Quality over quantity, absolutely crucial here.
And failing to recover doesn't just hurt you. It carries a major hidden relational cost. We hear a lot about spillover, when work tension bleeds into your personal life. But there's also crossover. This is the harsh reality that your stress doesn't just stay private. It physically and emotionally transfers to the people right around you. Running on an empty tank brings distraction and reactivity straight into your relationships and right onto your team. It spreads like wildfire.
To combat all this, we can borrow a really powerful concept. You might already know about job crafting, modifying your actual work to better fit your strengths, but equally powerful is leisure crafting. This is the active, deliberate practice of optimizing your free time for recovery. Don't just let your evenings be randomly filled by whatever algorithm pops up on your feed. Deliberately choose activities that give you that detachment, relaxation, mastery, or control we talked about. Because when we craft our leisure intentionally, we restore 4 very specific energies. Physical energy is renewed by actively lowering our heart rate. Emotional energy returns when we mentally detach, which literally deactivates the brain's alarm system, the amygdala. We restore our mental energy by completely stepping away and regaining our cognitive flexibility. And our spiritual energy, that comes back when we feel a true sense of agency and presence in our own lives. Okay, so here is your blueprint for an intentional balance, built on 4 sturdy pillars. First up, self-knowledge. One-size-fits-all recipes just do not work. You have to figure out your own unique recovery profile. Second, relational. Recognize that your lack of balance deeply affects everyone around you. Third, boundaries. Design your life so detachment is the absolute default. And fourth, chemistry. Respect the literal biology of how your body needs to rest.
We want to leave you with a profound paradigm shift today. Work with intensity, recover with intention, live with presence. These are not competing goals. They are the required conditions for a sustainable, authentic life. So ask yourself this: when you shut your laptop today, will you merely be resting, or will you truly be recovering with intention? Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and we'll see you next time.